So let's see. All right, there we go. So I'm Ruth. Hi. I've been pursuing a love journey with God since about 2010, when I was standing in a church and listening to Bill Johnson preach for the first time, and I recognized that he carried something that I didn't. And when I asked God what it was, he just said, "Oh, he loves people and you don't." And I went, "Oh, okay." So I said, "Well, teach me how to love. I want that." And then from there, all I can say is that I just understand that everything that I'm in is coinciding with my ask of God, teach me how to love. So let's fast forward to, it was December, but I don't know, maybe it was January, December. Let's say December. So when you're just loving, you do things like you have lots of people stay in your home all the time. Sometimes, and normally I'm totally fine with that. I don't really say no a lot because I recognize that when God puts something in front of you, typically it's an opportunity, but it happened that the last time I was very opposed to a particular person staying in my house, not because of them, just because I wanted to be an introvert. I didn't want to be around people, and thank God for my husband, because he made it happen without my knowing. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I calmed down and I said, you know what? God is going to do something so amazing with this person in my home because I don't want him here. I mean, not in a mean way, I just really wanted my own space. But I'll tell you what, like, just spending time, because I'm the one that gets to spend time with all the people, and so we would go hike and we would talk, and I would kind of just break down those, whatever this individual is dealing with. And one morning we just started talking, and I just made him, I said, hey, if you were going to ask me questions, you got to actually talk and tell me what's up. So for 2 hours, he just started to share, his story and his journey and different things. And one of the things in particular is this love encounter that their community had experienced. And I'm just in this like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. The love of God fell on you. Then I'm thinking, like, man, Lord, we're all going after that. Why is our community not in just this massive love encounter that doesn't make sense but is so cool? And God spoke some things about that, some foundational things, and I was like, okay, well, that's good. We can work on that and I'll build that. So I'm going on and on with whatever it is I do in my week, and I'm driving home, or I'm driving my son to school, and so I'll just keep on with my story. I'm driving my son to school, and I'm on the way home from dropping him off, and all of a sudden, I'm like so overwhelmed in my car, like to the point where I'm looking around to see if people can see what's going on with me. Like, I'm blubbering. I'm just encountering the love of God while I'm driving on the freeway. And I'm like, I'm hearing him speak to me. I'm listening to songs, and I'll just read this to you, and then. So, because it kind of explains, I just processed everything. But this was a 3-hour encounter. Like, it didn't end when my car stopped. Like, the fact that my car stopped, I was praising Jesus that I made it home. And then proceeded for 2 more hours on my couch to just encounter the love of God. So what I wrote is, I wrote, here's what I felt and what I heard him saying. I felt you engulf my very being this morning as I was driving. In all fairness, I shouldn't have been driving, but I'm sure your angels protected me as I continued to be overcome by your love. It occurred to me that the things I usually say no to are the very things that are the greatest blessing over me. As I was driving this morning, I was listening to the words in some songs, and they were, he has your best interests in mind. Just lay back and rest. His leadership over you is perfect. He works all things for good. I began to go into a vision about how rest was our weapon of warfare, and how when we just sit back in your love, I become the most effective. And as I saw this, I began to see my friend who was staying with us, and how 2 weeks ago he came to be with us, and how I had no vision for that, but because I know Jesus, I know that he does. And while my God is always understanding so that I'm able to love deeply, you began to show me how sneaky you've been. I started recalling how emotional I've been. Like, I was literally super emotional for the whole time this person was with us. Like, I'd cry, I'd feel all this stuff. And I was trying to figure out why, and then you began to show me all of the ways that you have been loving me through him this whole time. You showed me how you've been pouring out your love over me in a season that's generally, December is like the most overwhelming month for me. I mean, maybe not for anyone else, but I have 3 kids, so it gets to you. You brought your joy, your peace, your generosity, your love, your friendship into my home through this person. That wrecked me. My heart came undone, and you gave me back in greater measure the most valuable thing to me, which is thoughtfulness. Like, I so value thoughtfulness from people. There's no greater gift. I almost missed it. In my unrest, in my busyness, it's a genuine thing. Like, we genuinely desire to do the will of God always. And when you're pursuing loving people, it's not a bad thing, but sometimes God is actually pursuing you and you miss it because you're busy. We're Martha and not Mary. And so I just said, I thank you for loving me enough to encounter me in my car, to protect me when I didn't pull over, and I thank you for your generosity, thoughtfulness, love, patience, understanding, and peace. And then Hebrews 13:12, do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by doing so some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. So I get to encounter the love of God because I actively pursue it. But God taught me in that moment that he's actually pursuing me with his love as well too. And if I don't enter into his rest, I have the ability to miss it. And like, that overwhelmed me even more. I don't think I could move off my couch because I'm like, I didn't feel condemnation. I didn't feel like shame. I just felt like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do anything to miss God's love. And so here's the cool thing, because like, it's great to have an encounter, but if that encounter actually doesn't flow out from you and affect your life, then it was just a great time with Jesus in your car. And I mean, that's cool, but it's not really practical. So for the last month, like, I've literally been able to see so clearly all of the ways that God is just pouring. I mean, things like my best friend's husband calling us up, hey, I want to refinance your house for you to save you all this money on your mortgage payment. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he loves me so much. He's thinking of me in his own time to do this for me. I'm not thinking, he's thinking of me. For the first time for Abide, I had people who came around and set up and cleaned up and did everything for me. Like, how can we serve you? How can we help you? Like, I mean, I'm just watching God. I had, on the night of Abide, some of my best friends who I haven't seen in like 4 or 5 years showed up at my house and didn't tell me. They flew in from Washington, and they're just standing there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Jesus loves me so much. He brought my friends from another state to be with me. So that this encounter made me so aware of how much God is just pursuing me with his love. It wasn't just a good time with Jesus. It was a good time with Jesus, but there was fruit from it. And that, I'm more thankful for the fruit of that encounter than the actual encounter itself, because I have such better clarity. I can see what's around me, and I'm not going to miss it. He positioned me for success because he loves me so much, and he knows that my heart is to love deeper and more and better.